when you're talking about the topic of impaired driving and how that is going to be dealt with by, both prosecutors. I'm a former prosecutor and defense attorneys, and certainly we've got the State versus Oleneski case that's pending before the Supreme Court, which is they're challenging the drug recognition experts and the admissibility of all that. But I do think, and I have not done any real research in other states, but how they are, is there a bright line cutoff? Are they, is it basically going to be a matter of taking a blood draw and quantifying the active metabolite? But I think that's going to be a little bit of an issue that's going to have to be fleshed out by law enforcement.
Listen, the one thing I know, I told somebody, I had the pleasure of sitting in the municipal court in Evesham in South Jersey for a traffic violation.
God bless you.
Yeah, it was a fun experiment, but I was pleading down a moving violation. But I sat there, and the first ones they do are all the drug violations and DUIs, and there were several convictions for DUIs for driving under the influence of narcotics or drugs. And several were from cannabis. So previously, and you refer to the Supreme Court case, and we're going to see where that ends up. We were using drug recognition experts. Sometimes it's a field sobriety coupled with a blood draw. There was just an incident where I think there was a death, where a woman was charged, I think in Ocean County.
I just saw that.
Yeah, it was a blood draw that I think I just read because I'm curious right now. But there's a whole nother issue outside the criminal component of just, from a liability standpoint, we've seen with cops right now, right? The Attorney General put out a memo earlier this year, which is very controversial, and PBA has come out, and Mayor Phillip in Jersey City has come out against it, that would basically say that police are allowed to use adult use cannabis products. And there's another viewpoint, and particularly like in Jersey City, where you have to purchase your own weapon. You can't. The ATF won't allow you to get a firearms purchaser license if you are using cannabis. You can either lie on your application or be truthful and then be denied. So there's still some kinks in this right now of trying to figure out what does impairment mean? Because from a liability standpoint, if you're on the job or if you're operating a motor vehicle, there's arbitrary standards. And the other interesting thing, this became an issue, particularly around the debates around Black Lives Matter and some of the racial social justice components of this movement. Should we allow an arbitrary standard that would potentially allow police to target black and brown drivers, right? Oh, they're high. We had a DRE come, and it's a subjective test, and I think that's part of what's going on with the Supreme Court decision too. But that is still a challenge right now. That is an open-ended one.
Right.